episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. I'm your host, Patrick Moran. Thank you, as always, for locking in, whether you're listening to this on the audio side, whether you're watching this on video, might be watching this actually live or recording this live on the video side later on Sunday night. I am joined, as usual, now for my weekly Monday episode with my buddy Tone Pucks. What's going on, dude? You know what? You got here maybe 15 minutes before, and for people who are listening who don't watch the video parts, we do this show together here in my little home studio. You seem kind of subdued right now, man. Like you're in a really. This is one of the more chilled moods I've seen you in the 9-10 weeks now that you've been coming here on Sundays to do it, man. Kind of quiet, which is rare for you, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I really want to open up as to the reason to why, but I think I'm better served to just slip it in over the course of the of the podcast. So we'll just attribute it to a Bills free day. I'm very dialed into to the ones, not so much the fours, because only one really had my attention. But it was a good fall wrap up day of sorts, out in my shed, shit like that.
Yeah.
It had its heightened kid moments is what I was going for there. Yes, the day had its heightened kid moments, but for the most part, it was just like I said, man, it was a fall wrap down day a little bit. So, I just chilling.
We're going to talk today some Buffalo Bills, obviously a big game that becomes a must-win game at this point now. Monday night against the Denver Broncos. We're going to spend some time examining right now, as things stand currently as we tape this, if the Buffalo Bills are even one of the 7 best teams in the AFC, because I don't think it's as cut and dry as a lot of fans might think. We'll talk some Sabres. There is some strong buzz growing, some pretty credible buzz growing, too, about Pat Kane possibly coming to the Sabres, maybe even making that decision as early as this coming week. We'll get to all that tonight. For people who are watching this live on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, well, not on Twitter, but if on Facebook or the YouTube, if you want to leave a comment, ask a question, I'll try to get them on the show today. All right, so you had kind of a chill fall day. I turned back the clock yesterday and went out to a downtown bar crawl, which is something I have not done in a very long time, including
Was it an official bar crawl? Like, did was it labeled as such going in, or are you calling it a bar crawl because of the number? Like some of them, they're sponsored going in, or they're promoted going in. Was this a such and such a bar crawl?
Was not an official bar crawl. What it was, my wife's company, their department all got together. It was like 8 to 10 of them plus spouses. And I mean, it was planned, like what the day and the night was planned ahead of time. So, right, I mean, not official, but it was an organized.
I'm following you.
Went to Lafayette Tap Room. I don't know if you're not much of a, we never really were too much of a downtown scene, even when we were younger, going out to those kinds of places. Like you weren't really, were you?
I didn't frequent the tap room, but I was no stranger to downtown.
Yeah.
I would say my downtown era was around the time when you and I wouldn't have been in touch. You know what I mean? Like pre-Facebook years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Well, we probably had shit, man. When we each had our, like only one kid or something like that, we probably had a 10-year gap
for the most part. Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people could speak to that before social media, but what are we talking about?
I was just thinking in my mind, like, he doesn't know what the fuck we were talking about. We were talking about downtown.
Oh, how often I went downtown. Yes, I think my downtown years were like early married years, going with like other couples, work crews, stuff like that. Yeah, those were my downtown years. You and I, our hanging never really overlapped, with downtown.
Right.
It was either like in many cases, and much of where it got started, it was like our underage hanging. So, downtown wasn't really in play in those type of things. We'd go
Right.
close to, somewhere on the west side, somewhere on Grant Street, somewhere where I can bring a pizza to and get myself in. All right, at like 18 years old.
I'm not that much of a bar person, especially now. Like most of the time,
Keep going on your list though, because honestly, it's an impressive list. Like when you were doing your intro, it caught my eye, and I sat there.
well, Saturday, yeah,
Yeah. On your
we
thing
started,
there.
yeah, we started at Tap Room. I've been there before, so that wasn't my first time there.
Yeah,
And
right there, paid for the pockets.
that's fine. Big Ditch we went to. I had never been there before. That's a really popular place too, and I can see why. I was impressed with that place. It's big front, big back, and nice upstairs. Very modern looking. I enjoyed it there. Went to that Banshee, that's been like 20,000 different things on Franklin Street. I know Darcy McGee's was one of them, but I guess that place is really well known for now weekend mornings for soccer. Are you a soccer guy? Like I've never been a soccer fan. Like the EPL, for example.
I am just now fading out of what was about a 5-year soccer interest. I started to play FIFA. I got to a point where people just talked how good the game was.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried FIFA maybe 5 years ago, and I dove right in to the Premier League, just right into it, man. Like I was digging it on those Sunday mornings, right? It's a lot of Sunday, your fair share of Saturday. It's all over the place. They found a way to and maybe this is part of the reason, but I ended up getting all those streaming channels, so I can't really blame it on this. But I think they're not as entrenched in the weekend schedule as they used to be. They seem to spread it out a little bit now. And it just I didn't. This is the first year where I just didn't stay with it, man. I think it really so much of it is linked to the video game. When I get invested in that year's version of FIFA, which I've done every year, you know what I mean? The minute the new one comes out, I try to take advantage of my 10-hour EA free play, and then I eventually buy it. But I jump right on it, the minute a new version of any sport game is available.
I believe that video games could lead you into like in a sport. Like for an example, Shane's been playing hockey for years. On the video side, I'm talking about, not real hockey. Didn't know shit about the Sabres, didn't know anything about the players other than the video game. And now he's becoming like a legitimate fan. Like he doesn't watch every game, but he'll go out in the living room and he'll watch a lot of games now, which he never did before the videos. But anyway, Banshee is known, I guess, now as a place that hosts these big soccer parties. And why am I yelling too loud for you right now?
No, it was one of those things where, again, I forgot where we were. And then you said, well, Banshee. I was like, oh, yeah, that's where we were.
But anyway, yeah, so I guess that's a hot spot for soccer fans. I'm not a soccer fan, but I'm a fan of how fanatical soccer fans are towards the sport. They live and die with it. It's pretty cool. So I kind of want to go there during a Sunday or Saturday morning when there's games going on just to get that vibe. So anyway, yeah, we went to Banshee, went to some place called, I don't know, something Octopus. And it was basically, it's somebody's house that was converted into a bar, and you kind of could tell.
Nice.
I'm not going to sit there and, I'm not going to throw shade. It wasn't for me, but a lot of people were there and enjoying it. Definitely not a place for groups, put it that way. You want to go there. If you and I went there to have a drink, it'd be fine. But you go there with 12, 14 people, you really don't have anywhere to go. And
those are big words from a pandering fellow such as yourself.
What? That is not.
You're out there making enemies now. What if something Octopus is?
I'm not making enemies.
It's
not a bad place. Just
Cook or something is watching right now.
You
just lost the something Octopus. Following.
As I was starting to say,
you're in no position to be doing that.
I like drinking Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, primarily going to friends' houses or having people over, or I'll go to like my regular watering holes. So what was cool about Saturday was I was trying different beers, like craft beers at every place I went to. And I enjoyed a lot of them. But anyway, whatever I had at Something Octopus, that beer sucked.
It should be stated, though, that for to know your taste in cool things is actually to take that as a compliment. You know what I mean? You don't like I would be like, oh, good. If that wasn't his scene, that's good. Because
Yeah.
he don't know what a good scene is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So Mike Partham wanted to ask real quick, does Tone Pucks have a favorite premier club? Do you have a favorite team in soccer?
I try to, the answer, the short answer is no.
Well,
When
keep
I
it a
first,
short answer.
fuck
I
you.
don't want to hear your long answer.
Well, I mean, I liked Man City when I first got in. They were just a lot of fun, and it's a homery thing, but I like De Bruyne. I liked watching him play his sport. So it was Man City, but then it just over the past couple years, I would gamble on some teams, to hit the top four. Maybe a Hotspur last year, fucked that one up. And now it's now it's kind of down to nothing too. I was enjoying Chelsea while the American was there, while Pulisic was there. And I've never gotten into any of the other leagues outside of the Premier League. Champions League was really cool. The format of putting all those teams together, man, so unique. That was a lot of fun. Maybe I'll get back there. I'd like to try to get back there. But right now soccer doesn't have a hold of me.
Okay.
How's that for a short answer? You like that?
It was a medium-sized answer. It wasn't too bad. You didn't ramble too much. All right, there was one more bar I wanted to mention specifically that I went to Saturday. And again, talking Buffalo, it's not just sports talk. You're kind of talking about the city. You relax over there. Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers. I don't know if you've ever been to that bar. I don't even know where it is, to be honest with you. At this point, I was downtown. I was getting like 3 sheets in the wind and just following everybody. So I don't even know exactly where it was. I want to say it was on Allen somewhere. But anyway, what I like about that bar is it was very unique. Like Big Ditch is really nice, but it's a brewery. And there's a lot of nice breweries around the area now. Surgeons, Beltline Brewery, etc. But this Founding Fathers is an old-ass place. It's an old person bar. Bartender, I think he might have been the owner too. He's probably in his 70s. But Founding Fathers is presidents, and the whole bar is just littered with photographs and cool souvenirs and memorabilia from presidents. I don't know if I'm assuming you've never been there because you don't know. You're looking a little befuddled as I'm talking about this. It was a cool bar. What I'm saying basically is, even the nicer bars, they're a bar, and this is different. You can spend a lot of time in there just looking at all the shit on the walls, man. Lincoln and Franklin, Washington, Obama, just tons of cool shit all over the place.
You're sure on Obama?
Huh? Yeah, I'm positive.
You're sure on Obama.
There was some Trump too. I know it's your boy and all, but seriously, it was a different kind of bar, and I like it being unique and different like that. That was fun, and at that point, like I said, I was kind of getting little bit shitty. Went to that Fat Bob's Smokehouse, had some smoked wings, overrated wings. So there you go. There's another enemy now. They won't be sponsoring this.
Well, yeah, there's another enemy sitting directly to your right.
Yeah, you like that?
Fat Bob's is my go-to, bro. I'm about to order Thanksgiving dinner from Fat Bob's. That conversation came up today.
I got some smoked wings. Honestly, I thought they were.
I'm okay with that take. I think I've done smoked wings there before, and if you're expecting or hoping for any sort of comp to your traditional wing, that's not it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what you went in necessarily looking for.
I was drunk and hungry.
The closest thing I can get to some wings type shit.
Yeah, I was just drunk and hungry. Fries were good.
Those aren't, those won't satisfy that pizzeria wing.
Right. Agreed. And then we stopped at Adolph's. That was the last bar stop. That wasn't downtown. It was kind of on our way back going towards home. Then I went to my buddy's house and watched some UFC fights, and I cannot tell you 1 second of one fight because I do not remember.
Good.
I don't remember any of it.
Good.
Maybe the wings at Fat Bob's, maybe the reason why they failed to impress me is just because Thursday night I had 9/11 Tavern last week, and I put out a tweet calling them the best wings in the world. And they are the best wings in the world, by the way. Should have like 120,000
Tell me again where that's at.
9/11 Tavern. It's on Bloomfield and South Park Avenue in South Buffalo.
Oh.
There's so much to not like about the place because A, it's small. B, it's cash only. C, there's no reservations. D, they stopped serving at 8:30. In fact, a couple from Maine showed up at 8:37, said they drove 10 hours to come here And the waitress said, well, you're going to have to come back tomorrow because we're not serving. But Aaron and I went there last Thursday and we got really lucky. We didn't even have to wait more than 10 minutes for a table. And they only got 9 or 10 tables too, by the way. So again, it's hard to actually eat there, but these are the best wings in Buffalo, and Buffalo's got the best wings in the world. So to me, that makes these the best wings in the world. Traditional wings. There's a difference between like hot medium or, these fancy double dip Cajun, all this shit you can get from other places. I'm talking about your regular basic Buffalo chicken wing.
All right.
911 Tavern is absolutely the best. And I put up a picture of them, tweeted about it. It's funny. People care about my wing shit more than they care about my sports takes. And I don't know how I should feel about that, but yeah, they're just incredible wings.
You really started that. I don't think we've never had a chance to talk about that.
What?
But that, the wing reviews and stuff like that. Eventually the market got saturated and you became the brunt of the occasional joke. Not you,
Sure.
but wing, reviewers. But,
Right.
The thing that eventually got to be too much for everybody was actually started by you. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
No,
I could be. I mean, might be the only reason you're still around.
It could be, man. It definitely helped grow the show. I'm not going to lie about that. And then
And you ended up being like nobody.
Nobody gives a shit what
Nobody
I
thought
think
you
about
were
Josh
crazy.
Allen. Nobody cares about what I think about Josh Allen. But I swear to you, man, 4 to 5 times a week, I'll get either a tweet or an email or a DM from somebody saying, what about this place or your wing review ranking stuff? I liked it or whatever. I get more interaction from talking about wings than I do sports. I think that's just because everybody has an opinion. When you have everybody has an opinion about wings, it's so subjective. Whereas, you're talking football sometimes. You say Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. How many people are going to disagree or have their own take on that? You know what I mean? It's like,
that's
of
not
course.
like as big as we talk football and
Sure.
whatnot. We talk about it. But I'm going to give you a big compliment right here because I don't think this is true in a lot of other areas. In a lot of other culinary areas, I think you fucking take your subs too plain. I think you just, generally speaking, I wouldn't say that you have this, but in the area of wings, all right, I'm going to say you got a good palate.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, is it pellet or palate?
Palate, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that yours knows its wings because you get a lot of them right. You know what I mean? I mean, and they're very pandering. That helped. You know what I mean? Pandering Pat didn't just start, when he never took sides in fucking Twitter beefs. Pandering Pat started long before that shit.
Aaron Quinn and Tim Graham started beefing this week. I was like, nope. Y'all handle this yourselves. Not taking no fucking sides. Y'all handle this yourself like you both don't care.
All right, let's talk sports.
Yeah, let's get into it a little bit. So,
although that was fun. How far
generally
into this are we before really having started on sports?
16, 17 minutes.
That's good. That's excellent.
This is a kind of a product of not having a game to immediately recap. Like most of the time when you're on with me, it's immediately following a game and we're spending the entire time talking about said game. I hate when the Bills, I've said this a million times, like a broken record. I hate when the Bills don't play on Sunday afternoon. Most of the time. Today was not one of those days because I had an absolute blast. Beer can opening alert. I had a blast today. Today meaning Sunday for people listening to this on Monday. Today was a blast watching football. There were some incredibly competitive, fun games. I think I just saw a stat that 4 games ended in a walk-off field goal today. Not a good game for the Bills in terms of AFC playoff race scoreboard watching, though. I'm just going to throw that right out there. But Cleveland came back from 15 down to beat Baltimore. Houston was beating the shit out of Cincinnati. Then they almost blew it. Then they come back on the field. They win.
As you go through each one of those games, I know you're doing it in rapid fire fashion, but let's give early takes on what it means. What each one means for the Bills.
Can I give? All right, yeah, okay, that's fair. Let me give you one take that I wanted to talk about last week.
Okay.
That we never got a chance to because again, we were reacting to a Bills-Bengals game. We never really got to anything else last week. The Houston Texans are for real. That's my takeaway of today. The Houston Texans are 5-4, and it's time that people start respecting this team. I wrote about them last week. CJ Stroud, I did not think he was going to be good. I was not high on him at all. I thought Bryce Young would be better. I thought Richardson, which again, he got hurt early. So, we'll see how his career plays out, but holy shit, man. CJ Stroud is the real deal. Houston's good. They got a good young roster. I love DeMarco Ryans. He is going to be a great head coach. They got some pieces in place now, and they're 5-4, dude. You're talking wild card in the hunt. You better put some name on Houston's respect, or put some respect on Houston's name, I should say, because they are in this mix and they deserve it. They did something this week that the Bills didn't even come close to doing last week, and that was just physically, especially on their defense. I mean, Joe Burrow made some great plays, but man, they were physically imposing on Cincinnati.
All right, well, if we're going to put some respect on the Houston Texans name, then you're going to put some respect on their head coach's name. It's D'Amico.
D'Amico, my bad.
I'm playing with
no.
you.
You're right. You're right. But yeah.
Yo, I thought when Ryan, now this here, I'm going to screw up too, because I don't know if it's Ryan or Ryan's, but I think it's the S. I think it's Ryan's. When he was hired, man, and I saw the match with Stroud, I was like, he's just a 1 year holdover. Blame him for the season instead of Stroud. Like I can't remember who just left Houston. Did whoever leave Houston? I almost feel like he was a PR plug-in. But I could have that totally wrong. I just remember thinking they're setting him up to fail. Man, anything but. And when we were getting ready to come in tonight, what were we watching play out and talked about a little bit was Antonio Pierce with the Raiders, right? Going through that.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
I'm
Lovey
worried,
Smith. Well, Lovey Smith
worried that I have his name wrong.
It was Lovey Smith.
Lovey Smith.
Yeah, it was driving me crazy. I had to look it up.
Is that what you were doing over there when you were like fucking clueless about when I sent it to you? Yeah. Well, anyways, hey, it's awesome to see, man. It's awesome to see. Like you always got to be careful when you don't like prepare to go on with something related to race and NFL head coaches. Like I ain't trying to give anyone a soundbite. Not that anyone, that important would hear it, but good to see. It just hit me for the first time. What an opportunity here, man, with guys like Ryans and Pierce. You know what I mean? A younger, all right, fresher wave of potential long-term African-American coaches. Man, I hope it flies. And yes, the team that one of them is surprising the hell out of me on is to be feared. But here's my corny litmus test. You want a corny litmus test? Here's what I need to do. First of all, I've never watched them play. All right. I haven't seen anything. From Houston? Yeah. But I've got to run a game of Madden with them. All right. And I've got to see that they've got some like ratings, some on defense that, speak to this player was supposed to be good.
Sure.
Right. You know what I mean? Don't give me a right end, who's like a 69 on the pass rush or something. All right. Like that dude didn't suddenly become an 85. All right. So, but if he's like around a 77 player on Madden, then I could look at it and be like, well, if this motherfucker balls out, okay, he's a plus player on defense.
Yeah, Will Anderson.
If they got enough dudes like that, then maybe I'll start to be sold a little bit. Right now, it seems fluky. Today was the big win. All right, but they still got to pass the big test. What are their Madden ratings?
Well, they did draft the third overall pick in the draft this year to play defensive end, Anderson. Damone Harris.
Is he killing it? Is Anderson
playing pretty good? He's playing pretty good. Stingley was a top 5 pick 2 years ago. And there's not a lot of
corner. Stingley corner.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know
right,
this team.
so
I don't know this team inside out, but I've watched them play the last couple of weeks, and they just look highly competitive.
The Bills don't want to see that team stay in it, but I'll tell you this. All right, if this was like a Bills season of the past few years where you just know, you're going, who the fuck's not watching this right now, rooting for that team?
Oh, sure. I hear a lot of people talking about the Houston might be the 2019 Bills, where they're starting their ascension on the come up. CJ Stroud is ascending into a great quarterback. Now he's only a rookie, whereas Josh Allen, it was year two for him. But there's some parallels between this team, a defensive minded head coach. there's a lot of parallels. But anyway,
You
yeah,
got that receiver that everyone wanted to draft, and
Tank Dell.
That was
he's really good. Nico Collins is really good. Dalton Schultz. Yo, the weapons are there on offense.
That's
Again,
right.
Devin Singletary had well over 100 yards and a touchdown today, so he had a big game for Houston.
Oh, I got to see. That's another thing too. I got to see how the line is rated on that. How's the O line?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do they have? Are they winning in the trenches? Is that one of the reasons
they did today?
Look, those things to me are just. I know it sounds silly, but those those answers. So we're not going to say that we get those answers necessarily. That we get to those answers by way of Madden ratings, but those answers, at least to me, still speaks to their ability to sustain it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Stroud will have days that, he comes back down to earth quite a bit. So he
almost did at the end of this game.
Their success sustainable, in the trenches and when they need stops and stuff like that?
Yeah. Devin Singletary, 130 yards today rushing. CJ Stroud's only thrown 2 picks this whole season, and one of them was at one of them was at the end of this game, and it almost cost them
2 picks as a rookie.
Yeah, dude,
5-4 teams.
I'll tell you,
wasn't supposed to.
He's on the fringe. I'm gonna say the fringe of being in an MVP conversation right now. The way he's playing, yeah, he's a lock. That it's over for rookie of the year as long as he stays healthy. But yeah. So anyway, Houston wins. I don't think that's helpful to the Bills. I know there are a lot of Bills fans out there who are kind of rooting for Houston to beat Cincinnati. I wasn't in that mindset. Again, Houston's 5-4 now. They're right there. Cleveland beat Baltimore. I don't think that's good for the Bills. Pittsburgh beat Green Bay. Obviously, that's not good for the Bills. And you look, so if the Bills, they're playing Denver here on Monday night. If the Bills do win, they'll be the 7th seed, by the way, for people who are out there wondering right now.
Wow, a win?
Yeah.
Even if the Jets were to win tonight or something.
I think it's the Bills would have. Yeah, we're taping this before the Jets are playing right now. But you think if the Jets win and the Bills win, I think the Bills will have one more win on the season so far. I think
that'll falsely make a lot of Bills fans, breathe easier again. But at the same time, well, like I said, I think false. I think it would be false to do so.
What to assume the Bills would be in the playoffs with a win?
No. To see them in the spot, if they win.
Okay.
When waking up on,
Tuesday morning
in a spot, because I don't know, I'm not ready to break it down, but I don't know how we were a 9, right? We were the 9 this week going.
I think 8. 8 after we were 9 after we lost. No, yeah, and then the Jets lost on Monday, so that brought them up to an 8.
Okay. I don't know who lost to get us to 7. You know
the Jets.
What I mean?
Oh, today?
Yeah.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Bengals.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
See, here's the thing about the Bengals. Like when we talk about the Bengals and the Texans and who we thought was going to win that one, or who we wanted to win that one. I'll tell you who we thought was going to win that one. I thought Cincy was going to. I laid the 5.5. Let's just put it that way. I think when Cincy handled us, I think we immediately kind of gave Cincy a spot. Like Cincy's better than us. Cincy's a wild card team.
Agreed.
We're battling. You know what I mean?
I still feel,
and maybe they can fuck it up. You know what I mean? I mean, look, that's 5 losses. That's a lot of losses, man. I know they got us in a head-to-head, and they're still scary as hell. And I bet you teams would love to not see them in the playoffs. But maybe Cincy is capable of fucking it up.
Well, they got 4 losses, by the way. They're 5-4 right now. So if the Bills win on Monday night,
no, today's loss was 5, wasn't it?
No, it's 5-4. They're 5-4. They were 5-3 after they beat the Bills. But to your point though, last week the Bills woke up on Tuesday out of the playoffs. If the Bills win on Monday,
they wake up in them.
The Cincinnati Bengals are going to wake up Tuesday out of the playoffs. So I'm sure their fans are. I don't want to say that they're panicked like a lot of Bills fans are.
They're not happy about not.
I mean, they're in a tough They're in a tough division, man. That all 4 of those teams.
That's good. That's
what I'm talking about today. Like our boy Scully was rooting for all the wrong teams, and I kind of yelled at him on Facebook. Yeah. So anyway, Cleveland's 6-3 now, man. Steelers are 6-3. The Dolphins are 6-3. So again, Cincinnati's 5-4, but they've beaten the Bills head to head, and it's a little bit early for all that, but it's not too early to pay attention. Let me ask you this. we'll start this, take a break, and kind of dive into this more.
Like a real break? Like I can get up?
No, like a 20-second break for the
That
audio
don't even
side.
last 20 seconds.
No,
on
5
our
seconds
side?
in. All right, yeah. Right now, I'm going to ask you point blank. Do you think right now, as this stands, as we record this episode right now, late on Sunday, do you think the Buffalo Bills are one of the 7 best teams right now in the AFC? I know that sounds so easy. I don't think that it is.
Hold on. Well, I'm going to take issue with how you asked it.
Okay.
Are you asking me whether or not right now I think the Bills are going to make the playoffs? Or are you asking me, do I think they're one of the 7 best teams in the AFC?
Well, let's
my
do both.
I think my answer is different for each.
Explain. Go ahead. Elaborate. What would it be for each then?
Unless they were to absolutely implode, all right, and just like the wheels come off, maybe they finish 8 and 9 or something like that. Okay.
Let me interrupt you right real quick. Michael commented, and I trust what he's saying. I know him pretty well. It says the Jets could pull ahead of the Bills on a tiebreaker with a win tonight. So maybe I was wrong about the Bills being in the playoffs with the win as things stand. But anyway, go ahead.
Tonight, I think I brought that up.
Yeah, you did. You did. Good job, man. All right. So anyway, top 7 team in the AFC right now.
If the Bills just keep playing the kind of football that they're playing right now, all right, I think they finish the season 9 and 8 or 10 and 7.
Agreed.
Okay. And I don't know that gets it done. Okay. Like, I just don't know that gets it done. 9 and 8, I'm going to say I definitely won't get it done. The way things are trending right now, the exact conversation that we just had, all those fucking 6 and 3s out there, man. So I don't think 9 and 8 gets it done. So now you're moving to 10 and 7, and you're hoping that you ain't tied with anybody. All right.
Yeah, because they already got 4 conference losses already.
I think it's quite conceivable that the Bills could miss out on the playoffs, but at the end of the day, you would look at them and be like, man, they're still at least somewhere between 5 and 7. They may not be by the time everything gets there. Let's say Kansas City, Miami, Baltimore, they pull away in the divisions, as I expect. I expect Miami to. I think it gets really dark over the course of the next few weeks. Miami has cupcakes. They
finished with the tough schedule.
They finished with 3 hard ones. All right. Yeah. But they got 4 cupcakes leading up to them. It's going to get dark. We'll be winning our games, but I don't think we'll be gaining on Miami. But anyways, I think you could look at the AFC playoff teams and have it not include the Bills and still say, man, what a shame. This team is one of the best, 7. This team not being in the playoffs, all right, ain't what we want. It's kind of not what they want, because you're about to get the 3rd straight primetime game in a row, man, and they're just laying duds left and right. They're just laying duds. So we held on to our kind of our media darling there up through this year, and I think they still want us, you know what I mean? Like, networks, the game itself still wants one more hurrah of Josh Allen in the playoffs. But man, even money right now, no, I don't see them changing enough or getting the execution going enough, whether it's strategic or on the field, whatever. I don't see him doing it to beat some of those teams that we have down the stretch.
Well, I'll say this. Kansas City, this is my list right now. Kansas City, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and I think Jacksonville are for sure better than the Bills right now. Offense, defense, special teams, 1 through 53. I think those 4 teams are better than the Bills. And it's really hard to argue against the Jaguars or Cincinnati, considering that they pretty much laid it on Buffalo and they weren't even really all that competitive of games. The Bills will have a chance to play in Kansas City. They don't play Baltimore. I still think Baltimore is a really good football team. So that's 4 right there. So automatically, to me, that puts the Bills no higher than 5th. And now you're getting into territory with Cleveland, or first of all, Miami, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I want to say the Chargers, but dude, they're 4 and 5. I can't.
Here's something else you did, though. Here's something else you did. You took a 5 and 5. I keep doing that. You took a 5 and 4
Bengals team
because
I think they're better.
I do, but you
dominated the Bills.
You got a 5 and 4 Bengals team with a real tough division.
Sure.
All right, and a still 2 games or maybe a game and a half out of first place.
Bengals could be having the same thing that you're talking about.
I don't know that I can. I'm just making the argument that no matter what happens this season, even me, even a cynic like myself, all right, you'll probably never convince me that the Bills weren't one of the 5 best teams in the AFC this year. You know what I mean? Even if things just keep going the way they're going right now,
though,
yeah. Even defense? If we miss out on the plays, I don't care. I'm also kind of factoring in the fact that, unlike yourself, I do think it's possible that we'll see some returns. I guess that's how
you're talking about Daquan or Milano.
Well, you got Scully over there saying Pat said absolutely no on Milano. I'm like, listen, bro, Pat don't fucking know. Pat was in a shitty headspace when he typed that or tweeted that or whatever. Pat don't know. All right.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
But look, all I'm saying is I guess I'm factoring in the possibility that they have some of their studs to help make a run a little bit, or that they find it in time to make a run. But no, you'll never convince me. Excuse me. Bad swallow. You'll never convince me that the Bills weren't a top 5 team in the AFC when this season ends. And that includes in the case of
not making the playoffs.
Not making
That's
the
fair.
Playoffs.
That's fair. Look, the gloomy side of it all right now is that the Bills are in a fight for a playoff spot, whether people want to think that or not. It is just straight up. It's the truth right now. You look at the teams ahead of them, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about these schedules, but I did write this stuff down here. Pittsburgh, they are 6-3, but they still play Cincinnati twice. They play Cleveland on the road. They play at Baltimore, which is the last game of the season. They also play at Seattle. So there's a lot of tough games coming up for Pittsburgh. Cleveland plays Pittsburgh. They play Jacksonville. They play at Houston, which is funny because now I'm adding Houston to a list of tough games. I never thought I'd be doing that when it comes down to NFL playoff factors. They play at Cincinnati. They play at the Rams. So there's potential losses there for Cleveland. Houston, they play the Jags in Cleveland. Those are tough ones. But look, Arizona at home, Denver at home, at the Jets, a winnable game, at Indy, a winnable game, Tennessee twice. Houston's 5-4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games. If they can win 5 of those cupcake games, even 5 of those 6, that gets them to 10 wins. I am telling you, folks, Houston is in the hunt, like for real. That is like my big takeaway right now with the AFC. Cupcakes, bro. Cupcakes. Those are winnable ass games. And they could beat Cleveland too. I mean, they could beat Jacksonville. Houston is in the mix. I would be not stunned if Houston, Texas make the playoffs. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Big words. Let me tell you what's going through my head while you talk about that. I'm looking at the clock because I've lost track already. I can't remember what time we started because I've been here so many times, like till like 11 or something. Yeah. Where I'm like, what am I going to have the time to do when I get home? So I'm getting excited thinking about Houston in a game of Madden, right? I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home and play Houston a game of Madden. And then I remembered that the fucking the kids added another body to the TV count today. My TV's toast, man.
Really?
They got it. They got the good one in the basement. They got the video game TV. And I will not be going home tonight to play with Houston, with or against Houston in a game of Madden.
All right, I'm back here with Tone Plucks. We're talking about the AFC, just how tough it's going to be for the Bills to get into the playoffs, and if they're one of the top 7 teams in the AFC. I tend to agree with you, by the way, to put a wrap on that. Making the playoffs or not, I still think they're one of the top 7 teams, but I think they're closer to 7 than they are like maybe 2 or 3 just because of the injuries on defense. They're just too much. What about the issues with this team? And again, we're talking about a team that's going to play a game here on Monday night. I know we're both assuming that they're going to win this game despite even more injuries on defense. But what do you attribute the biggest problem being with this team right now? Because I will tell you this, and I obviously pay a lot of attention to social media, and they've went through stretches and slumps over the last couple of years. I remember fans were calling for Brian Dable to be fired in 2021 at one point.
I don't remember this as well as other people seem to. I mean,
I do.
Like, I think there was a fringe there with Dayball, but everybody's coming out of the woodwork now.
I remember it.
Where it was in abundance. I don't remember that.
Well, regardless, what I'm saying is this. There was still a lot of confidence in this football team. Like, what the fuck's going on? We're playing terrible. But there's a lot of confidence that things were going to get turned around. I spent a lot of time on Twitter on Sunday watching these games, watching Cleveland win and Pittsburgh win and Houston win. And I'm telling you, the thing that stuck out to me more than anything else on social media, at least, is this is the lowest I've seen fans confident in the Buffalo Bills right now, probably since this run with Josh Allen, 4 years now, 5 years running playoff teams or caliber teams. This is the least confident I've seen fans in the Bills. This team feels, even though they're not really old, but this team just feels old and stale and borderline boring, quite frankly. Tim Graham wrote a great article. I'm going to get to that in a second. Do you kind of get that sense? So, like, I know you're not on social media a lot, but you talk to people. Like, the confidence level, if your name's not Anthony Angrisano anyway, the confidence level on the Bills is, I don't want to say an all-time low, but it's at a 3 or 4 year low, I feel like. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. Because a shit storms are brewing. Yeah. Like the last conversation that we had about them. They are getting old, man. Mainstays will be goners. All right. Huge monies will be eaten. This is it. This is the last look for a big part of this group. And like midway through the season, it's looking like you're not even going to have a chance to. No, it's not looking like you're not going to have a chance to play for it, but you're in a battle for a playoff spot where you never expected to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans feel that this team is closer to being, and so do I, for the record, being closer to missing the playoffs than they are being a legitimate chance. Like, if you had to put even money on right now. Or not
missing
even money,
or
versus
getting
the
AFC championship.
Correct.
Game.
What are you?
I pound
missing the playoffs.
Missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I'm getting close to that point as well. You've been going to this game tonight with these injuries on defense.
I know this is like a game day podcast that hasn't talked about the game at all. But you know what? You put it up at like 6:49 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah, it'll have
what
all day
the
play.
Fuck? What time do you get up to put these things up?
I schedule them, actually. I'll schedule mainly at night for
you fancy,
huh? For the next morning.
You fancy.
Yeah, but like I said, this team, it just feels really stale right now. And Tim Graham from The Athletic wrote a really good piece this week about the Bills. Remember when Buffalo used to have fun? That was the title of it. I want to read one paragraph from that. I have it in my notes here. He says, these Bills are tightly wound and have been all season. They have a tightly wound head coach and a tightly wound offensive coordinator, still unable to replace Brian Dable's palsy-walsy influence or Leslie Frazier's fatherly hand. The Bills trudge into November closer to missing the playoffs and maneuvering for a Lombardi trophy. Kind of Tim just said or wrote what we just talked about.
It takes a lot for me to overlook, all right, some of Tim's beefs on Twitter and stuff like that. Plus, I see him so much as a long form writer, that I don't recall really diving into his Bills takes that much. That was fucking superb. All right. Not only a superb take, but superbly worded. It makes me miss, having someone as good at putting the words together like that. I mean, that was like, it was like Felcher type shit. You know what I mean? And Tim, I mean, I hope to see more of that. Because I know for a while there, man, I mean, he was straight long form. Was he even really giving you this on the Bills? Or is this did he have to take over some shit? You know
Well,
what
I mean,
it's fucking excellent.
Yeah, the story itself, he was talking about how the offense just used to have more creativity and imagination, and just quite frankly was better. I want to read something else from his article. He says, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me plugging this here. Once among the NFL's most entertaining clubs, the Bills have become a primetime bore. Last year, they averaged 31 points while going undefeated in 5 night games. The Bills enter Monday night's matchup against the Denver Broncos with a 2-2 primetime record and averaging 18 points. You can't fake fun. Buffalo's just not having it. Remember those middle finger plays, showing up the Pittsburgh Steelers defense right after their Renegade hype song, throwing a touchdown pass to rookie backup Tommy Doyle.
All my thoughts into words.
Yeah, throwing a touchdown pass to rookie backup tackle Tommy Doyle while already beating New England by 30 in the fourth quarter. John Brown and Cole Beasley chucking touchdowns. Josh Allen catching them. Defensive tackle Kyle Williams getting touches. Isaiah McKenzie capering about. Just, yeah, man. I'm look
great
again.
Stuff.
I know it really
Stuff,
really is great
but
stuff.
To me, it all speaks to Dayball versus
Dorsey.
And man, I mean, we can really talk about these guys as men too. Dayball versus McDermott. You know what I mean? Like, when you're having that sort of success, you don't have to listen to your head coach. And believe me, I don't think fucking Dayball really did. You know what I mean? Like, he kept McDermott at an arm's length from Josh. And I think Dorsey is not as successful as Dayball, not as decorated as Dayball, and simply not as powerful a personality in the organization to fend off the highly strung head coach.
Yeah.
Tightly wound, however Tim put it.
Yeah.
He put it perfectly.
Yeah.
And where does that start? You know what I mean? Has McDermott really always been that way and now it's infectious in the wrong ways? Or is it the fact that, other leaders in the building, Dayball and Frazier, simply weren't like that? You know what I mean? Frazier maybe a little bit, you know what I mean? But he was still, very nurturing and things like that.
Sure.
More of a calmness than a tight woundness. You know what I mean?
Good
Those
point.
are big personality. Well, it's not my point at all. I mean, right there in the article, he talked, pointed out characteristics of Dayball and
Leslie
and Frazier. And, that's why when we talk about McDermott being part of the problem, we go to 13 seconds. We talk about, decisions, in-game decisions that we liked or didn't like and stuff like that. But what we really should be talking about is, his ability to hit on his second, wave of coordinators. You know what I mean? Like, when he didn't have, the veterans, the studs that Dayball and Frazier were considered to be. He's losing that battle right now. He's losing that. It's been far from seamless. Now, we don't know if the defense necessarily would have shit, man. McDermott looked like he may have had it on a path to improve upon
Agreed.
Frazier's D. I mean,
they look good the first month, man.
Yeah.
40 injuries. I mean, that Miami game was a real test, and the defense passed it. The defense looked good. That's injuries.
X's and O's aside, and even injuries aside, though, the cool hand, man, the calming influence of Frazier that isn't there right now. Nobody filled that void.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody filled that void. And, that whole piece, that whole dynamic, to me, factors in.
Yeah. Somebody commented Frazier was a scapegoat. To some extent, I buy that as well. Let me read one more piece from Tim's from article, because this kind of speaks to what we've been talking about. I know I had a rant on last week's show about this, just the lack of any creativity in this offense. He says in the 27 games, and I didn't even realize this, In the 27 games Ken Dorsey has been offensive coordinator, no one other than a quarterback has attempted a pass, and no one other than a running back, receiver, or tight end has caught. Under Dable, non-quarterbacks completed 6 of 8 passes for 104 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not counting special teams, chicanery, Brown threw 2 touchdowns, Beasley and McKenzie 1 apiece. Non-skilled players under Dable caught 6 of 8 targets for 46 yards, 5 touchdowns. Left tackle Deion Dawkins has 2 career TD receptions. Then he jokingly says the universe smiles upon fat guy touchdowns. We talked about this, though, the lack of creativity and energy in this offense. All that stuff. Where's a reverse other than a horrible, which we watched it and laughed at the time. Maybe we shouldn't have, the attempted flea flicker. But where's the jet sweeps? Where's the pre-snap motion? Where's the reverses? Where's all kinds of, where's a red zone or goal line situation, fat guy catching a touchdown? Maybe that fun matters. It spreads in the locker room, because this does seem, what else it seems like, Tone, this year? We don't talk about this enough. And I don't know if this is a McDermott thing or what, but doesn't this feel like this is a low-energy Buffalo Bills team this year compared to years past? Does to me. I just don't feel the energy with this team right now. We're talking about a team like it's a eulogy or a funeral. The season's not over. They are 5-4 and very winnable.
Well, look, I
very
think there was
capable
carryover. I think there was carryover from the offseason, the issues with Diggs a little bit, even though that hasn't really flared back up. I just think there was some disconnect, within some of the big players, being, big personalities, let's say, important personalities, players and coaches. There was some disconnect there, and just a lot of it has gone against them. Maybe we're not talking this way without well, that's to assume wins. Let's do that real fast. What's the Bills' record if they're healthy
this year?
Right now, just the way the season was going so far. All right, so they lose Trey against
Miami at the end of the game.
And he's not there against Jacksonville. And Elam gets eaten up, and the other two get hurt right away. Same game, right?
Yep.
All right, everybody stays healthy against Jacksonville. We win that football game.
If DaQuan Jones and Milano,
everybody stays healthy, we win that football game.
I think so. I think so.
Although
we came out really
we were
flat and came there late in the week, and I think that affected the Bills' offense huge.
We were flat,
but the defense played like shit, in part because they lost DaQuan Jones and Matt Milano in game in the first quarter.
Right. They don't lose to the Patriots. So at worst right now they're 6-3, possibly 7-2. And you could really argue, that they would have played Cincinnati,
They would not have beat. I don't believe they beat Cincinnati.
A healthy Bills that still isn't
I think it's a
figuring
bad
it out
matchup.
Offensively.
They be capable of it. I don't think they're capable of beating Cincinnati. Well, I take that back. They're capable of beating Cincinnati, but a lot of shit needs to go right. I watched Houston dominate them for the most part today. And I like Houston, but you can't tell me that they're better than the Bills right now. I know this is a week-to-week league. I get that. 6-3 without the injuries. I feel confident saying that.
No, I want 7-2.
Okay, well, regardless, they're not healthy. And it's getting worse because they are playing a team Monday night here, Denver, without the guys that already had been out. And now they're without Mike Hyde. Now they're without Christian Benford. I think Benford, I think that's fine because of Rasul Douglas. And maybe no Terrell Bernard. Terrell Bernard is still, as of this recording late Sunday anyway, has not cleared concussion protocol. So they might be missing him too. Defense is in shambles, bro. The Broncos, by the way, they are 3-5. They've won 2 in a row. I know it looked like they were tanking early in the year. They've beaten the Chiefs. They played the Chiefs tough the time they lost to them. They played them twice, and they're coming off a bye. I mean, if you're Denver, I don't think you're afraid to come to Buffalo and play. I think in the years past, there's been some teams that have been kind of afraid to come here and play the Bills. I don't think they're fearing the Bills right now.
Denver's coming in with some confidence, man. I happened to throw on a couple national guys earlier in the week. No idea who it was. But it was definitely national, and it was definitely a radio feed. But they were just doing picks. Might have been Saturday morning. Might have been like a Boomer Esiason on Saturday morning kind of thing. And they got the Bills, unbiased Bills, Broncos. Both took the Broncos and just said that, their playing with genuine confidence right now. Both took the Broncos to cover. Both say Bills
Sure.
win, Broncos cover. So, going all the way back to where we were, early on, you said, I think we both expect the Bills to win tomorrow night, and I'll let that go. But I don't feel like Oakland. No, not Oakland. Who are they?
Vegas.
The Vegas, Washington type confident. Even Giants Bucks type of confidence before we ultimately lost to the Giants. Like, I don't have
almost lost to the Giants, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Almost lost those two games.
Lost to the fucking Patriots, though. And Jesus Christ, watching them today. Oh, my God.
After they looked as bad as they did against the Giants and Bucks, I did not have crazy Patriot confidence. I don't think.
You didn't.
Not crazy.
I agree. You're right.
But I think I expected to win that. I expected probably to win that Patriot one more than I expect to win this one. I'm just not there. You know what I mean? I think I'm taking until the Bills prove that they want to open it up. All right. And they want to take a 10-point lead into a 17-point lead, the way that Brian Daboll used to want to step on your throat, until they fucking prove that they even care to do that and not let a team get in a backdoor cover like Tampa, putting their game in jeopardy. Till the Bills are ready to do that, how the fuck am I going to lay 7?
Yeah. Mike Partham commented, Sneaky Joe, DiBiase from WGR, says the Bills defense deserves to be 8-1.
Well, that's giving them the Jet win, which I'm assuming is a loss just because they were healthy for that one. You know what I'm saying? So I like that way of, that's right. I would agree with that. Defense deserves to be 8-1, but I gotta
two losses.
I gotta eat that Jet loss.
2 losses. I think the defense let them down against New England. Despite all the injuries, the Patriots suck. You got to play better. And because of injuries, the Jacksonville game, the defense did not play well at all.
Yes. No.
Cincinnati's.
I'm on you there. Yeah. One's not enough for this defense.
Right.
Since the injuries did happen. You tell me a healthy defense would have been 8-1. Okay. But not just this defense as is. This defense was part of the problem. It was supposed to be a subtle finger thing, not an angry fucking point to the microphone. That's good though. That's good. I like the point. I could pass at this point.
I don't blame the defense for the Cincinnati game. They struggled, but they held the Bengals to 3 points over the last 2.5 quarters. So can't really put that on them. Like I said, I need the Bills to win with style points. And I know that kind of seems stupid. Sean McDermott will say a win is a win, whatever. I won't feel that way. If the Bills play tonight, Monday night, and they win, but they struggle to do so, or they have another slow start on offense again, they hold on to win by 1 score against Denver, I'm going to feel really pessimistic about this team. I kind of do already. I still feel like there's an opportunity to turn things around. If I do believe one thing about the Bills in a positive manner right now, I think the offense has the ability and feels like it is on the verge of turning it up and playing better. They're sure as shit going to have to. They have to. It's the only way the Bills are making the playoffs is that this offense gets dramatically better.
Look, it has
consistently better, I should say.
It hasn't.
EPA people get mad at me. Fucking
Can I tell you something? All right. I want to be able to hold my spot, but I'll hold the thought on the DVOA and all that stuff. I'll make sure I'll make sure I get to that. I don't have a big take on it. I can give you the take right now. At the minute I read the words, I fucking pass by the tweet, whether it's somebody promoting it or somebody arguing against it. And that's not just DVOA, that's EPA. That is everything. All right. I disengage 100% from that argument. I don't give a fuck. But I see both sides. And that's why it's so easy to me.
Sure.
The answer's in the fucking middle. It's always in the fucking middle, guys. Come on. Sure. But argue away. Anyways, if Buffalo offense optimism is out there, it's out there because we seemingly now have a solid option in Kincaid. And an emergence in the slot in Shakir.
Yes.
Those are the things. If you want to get me to an optimistic place about why this offense could be on the verge. Like, we never expected to have to think this offense needed to be on the verge of something. Like, it's just, press play. That's what this offense has been like, man. Just press play, man, and they fucking go out and do their thing.
Yeah.
So to say that they need to be on the verge of finding themselves is a frustrating thing to have to wish for, but it don't mean that you might not be right. And the two biggest things I think that would speak to that are the emergence of Kincaid and Shakir. Yeah. So if those things continue to happen, but they're still only scoring in the 18 to 22 point range, then I don't give a fuck. All right. Stop telling me about the emergence of Kincaid. I don't want to hear about, that's cool, but it ain't mattering. It's got to start to matter. You know what I mean? It's got to start to matter. Winning plays, bigger plays, scoring plays, ultimately. And then you can start to say, hey, I think we have the offense at least this group's ceiling as we head into the most important stretch of the season.
One last thing on offense, too. There's a lot of talk, and understandably so, about the frustration with Gabe Davis. Like, what the hell is going on? He has 3 weeks ago, he's got one catch. It was the Bengal game, right? One catch for 5 yards. Or before that, I'm sorry. One catch for 5 yards. Then the next game against Tampa, he has 9 catches for 87 yards. Last week against the Bengals, he has no catches. I think this Bills offense could be perfectly fine without him. That's where I'm at. And I've been a big Gabe Davis supporter. I'm not saying necessarily bench him. I'm just saying this offense doesn't need to have Gabe Davis have a big game to be successful. Between Diggs and Kincaid, Shakir, I really want to see Deontay Hardy get more involved somehow. Very big mixed bag going on with him. Some people think he's not fast, that he lost his speed because of injuries. I personally haven't seen that. I don't know. But James Cook coming out of the backfield in the Hunt Lenny, which you named him last week, I think he's going to be up with the Bills. Not for this game, but I think he's going to be up after this game. Josh Allen running the ball. You don't need Gabe Davis necessarily to have 5 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown.
I agree with that. But I like having the threat of Gabe Davis out there. I think he just has to go from option 2 to about option 4 or 5.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, but I still want him on the field. All right, because fuck around and find out. Okay, like Kansas City just. I mean, he still has
there. There.
Look, if you don't play some sort of too high, he's gonna run a post on you. He's gonna beat you. All right, he's gonna beat you on a fucking post if you think if you want to drop that safety down. If you bite on some Kincaid, over routes or something like that. So look, we just can't rely as heavily on him as we have. Shakir's we got to start getting slot contributions, right? And we got to start getting, big time tight end contributions because, he's one of the most skilled players at catching the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Look, keep Gabe Davis on the field. That's a good take, man. You don't pay attention to him, he'll beat you. If he's not part of a game plan, I really don't give a shit. I don't care who scores or how they score. They just got to score. They got to score more. Especially in the first half. You got to run over. What's your prediction for this game? Give me an actual, you don't have to tell me a score. How much are the Bills winning by? Because neither of us are going to say the Bills are going to lose this game.
The Bills are winning tomorrow night between 5 and 10 points.
5 to 10?
All right. It's just a fucking matter of what side of that you want to fall on as far as, you gambling degenerates out there. Laying 7's a bitch, all right? Because this could be like a 26-20 game.
I want to disagree with you. I want to say they win by more than that, but I can't because it's just this defense is just a freaking mash unit. Denver's going to score enough points to keep them in the game. We might be looking at a defense with DeMar Hamlin starting on Monday.
I'm really interested
in Dotson and Dorian Williams both starting.
Super. I'd love to see DeMar get the start over Taylor Rapp tomorrow. It's nothing against Rapp. I guess I would like to know that maybe Rapp is good, like maybe a starting spot and more of the deep man, which I think he would be. You know what I mean? Because Poyer plays the ups. So it would be nice to know that Rapp is there. I just think we know who Taylor Rapp is.
I agree.
What I mean,
I agree.
And now here's the question though. Did we like DeMar last year because he was coming up and supporting, or do we like him because he can play center field? I don't remember DeMar playing a whole lot of center field, bro.
I don't either.
Really. I don't.
I don't
so it's
either.
probably Rapp, right? Or we might just be fucked.
I think Rapp's gonna start. I think Hamlin will play, though. He's definitely gonna be active.
You guys, a couple guys besides yourself brought up Cam Lewis. I feel like they totally recommitted him to the nickel, to the slot in case of Taron Johnson injury. I don't know that Lewis is in the safety conversation.
Come up.
I hate. Can we be done?
Yeah, one more thing. Come up with a one bold prediction for this game. I'll go first. Give you a second to think about it. This isn't like the most bold prediction in history, but Von Miller is going to get his first sack of the season sometime in the first quarter of this game. Fans will get into it, and maybe that'll get some energy going for this defense. But I think he's due now. He's went from looking horrible to somewhat adequate. And besides him being on the field on that Cincinnati play on 3rd and 3, that still pisses me off. He's going to get his first sack. Do you have a bold prediction? You don't have to have one if you don't want one.
No, I do, but I've already taken a step further with that bold prediction. Jesus, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. The new corner. It's the new corner.
Rasul Douglas.
There it is.
That's your guy.
I'm going for a pick.
Yeah,
I'm going for a pick for him. But I immediately went past that and thought about the gambling odds. What would be like a Von Miller pick or a Von Miller sack versus a Douglas pick?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say a Miller sack would be the favorite, right? Even though he's been invisible, is still a sack more likely than a pick.
Yeah. Roy Collins commented. He said Hamlin's a replacement level player in his opinion.
I agree. Yeah. Is he maybe any better than Taylor Rapp? Because I don't have Taylor Rapp as anything but a replacement level player.
I agree. Let's talk a couple minutes of Sabres here before we get out. There are legs to a rumor that's been going around for quite a while now, but a buzz is growing that Pat Kane might sign with this Buffalo Sabres hockey team. It could come as early as this week. There's reports out there, from what I understand, credible too, that the Sabres are in on Pat Kane for real. And it's not even just his 1-year offer. Like, it's a multi-year, 2-year offer. I don't know if your mind changed about it. Well, let's go there. Is your mind changed about Pat Kane coming here based on the fact that he would probably be a third line forward at this point? The Sabres are not getting shit from Tyson Jost, from Olofsson, who's in the press box half the time, Peyton Krebs, which we're going to need to have a conversation with this kid sooner or later, etc. The back end of this forward unit is just not scoring. So, Pat Kane, is your view changed based on what we've seen now over 13 games, 14, 15 games now into the season?
Well, I love how you opened up, all right, with some insider knowledge, saying that it has legs.
It does have legs.
I understand that. You know what I mean? But somewhere out there, like, you have a listener right now that they're getting that information from you. And that is why you're the weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk
and more.
And more. I've done a near 180 on it, bro. All right. Largely because of what you're pointing out. All right. There are gaping holes in the bottom 6 right now. All right. Fuck the names. There are gaping holes in the bottom 6 right now, especially, when you can't roll, when Cousins goes down, when you suffer an injury amongst, let's say, your top 7 skaters, it starts to really, really filter down, man. Because if you can't put that stud third center on that third line, that's the whole problem right there. I thought you said we got to have a Peyton Krebs conversation. See, I thought that they could survive, and it wasn't because of injury. It was because I thought that Granato was going to go back to Greenway, Thompson, and Cousins. I thought they could survive that because I felt like Peyton Krebs was ready to play up into that third center role, with some of the defense that he's learned, skating with Girgensons and Okposo, and then letting some of that offensive talent out, driving a third line. Fucking nowhere's near that, man.
No.
We're not getting that. So we've got to, just keep our strength in the middle with those three. There's no more putting Cousins. I know he tinkered with it the other night. Again, I don't think Cousins was himself the other night, the face shield game or whatever.
Sure.
We've got to go back to being just dead ass up the middle with those three studs. All right, or can be studs. And go from there. But when one of them's missing, the bottom six has big issues. I'm all for the Kane thing having legs, man. All right. Number one, I'm just so sick of the analytics people hating on it so much for all the wrong reasons. They're convinced that they've seen the downward trajectory and it's a spiral, almost incapable of possibly being readjusted back up by proper usage. So they've lost me on that argument, and I kind of want to see them have to eat their words because I want to see Pat Kane. I want to see the Buffalo Sabres do well. The other thing is that nobody's even standing up for the fact that that he had behavioral issues in his hometown, not long enough ago in the sports world, but not that far to where it's from, still while he was an active player and now still is an active player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of those things matter in his decision making. All right. I think his overall image, he understands that South Buffalo doesn't necessarily speak for the entire region.
Sure.
All right. And he may not want that, in his twilight. So I think it's just a super, super interesting storyline right now, and we need the fucking scoring. So I'm in.
Look, Middlestat's playing with Greenway and Peterka. And
no, he put Peterka with Thompson and Skinner the other night, and I'm not sure that he ever wants to look back from that.
Well, maybe so. I didn't. Let's put Tuck down.
Oh, wait a minute. I slept through the Pittsburgh game. Sorry. I went back to 2 games ago. I slept through the Pittsburgh game, so I don't know. I don't know what he kept together.
I was at like Founding Fathers and all those other bars I told you about during that Saturday Sabres game. That's just one to forget. Yeah, look, I'm on board with Pat Kane at this point because that third line just needs more scoring. And if it's Middlestat who's the second line, then Cousins is playing with trash on the third line. Whichever way you do it, if it's Cousins moving up, then if he's playing center, if they're both playing center.
If Tuck comes back, then your weakest link, or at least that you're not paying attention to, or that you're now forced to pay attention to because you're skating minutes. Your weakest link becomes the third winger on or the second winger on Cousins' line.
Yeah,
because if Tuck were to come back, all right, things start to slot a little bit better. No, you're still Rusick and Jost. You're still Rusick and Jost.
They were Olofsson.
Even if Tuck comes back. That's my bad. That's why I kind of think, man, they know they're coming for Kulich. And I feel like that might have been the Savoie move. I think
you're half right.
I think they know they're coming for Kulich.
I think you're half right. And I thought about that too. It was surprising. And look, I'm not plugged into the Sabres like I like to think I am with the Bills anyway. So I'm not going to sit there and bash Don Granado or Kevin Adams for sending Matt Savoie back to juniors after 5 shifts and less than 4 minutes of ice time of one game.
Right, it's bashable.
It might be bashable, but I don't understand.
Stupid.
My conclusions were 2 things. Number 1, they just don't think he's ready. And number 2, they're not going to mess around because he could have had up to 9 games with the Sabres before they had to do anything here to make a decision to send him back or not. I think it might be because of Pat Kane. I think Pat Kane might have something to do with that.
I think both him coming here, true.
They feel his signing is imminent, which I don't, by the way, I if he would have signed tomorrow, I'm not sure when he would actually be on the ice and playing. So
that's another thing. You know what? In fairness, I'm to the people that are against it because of, just blocking, futures, things like that, and the fact that he's any good anymore. They are also pointing a lot to the hit, all right, to being able to be effective at all.
And 33 years old.
Coming off this injury, not just, two-way,
I get it.
Two-way shitty stats.
I totally get it, man.
But fuck that. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready next week. I'm all for it.
Kulich,
you know what?
I'm surprised about Kulich. Or not surprised. It's mysterious to me why he hasn't gotten a crack yet. He didn't get a crack out of training camp. He didn't get the preseason. He hasn't gotten a call up yet. While guys like Rusek and Savoie and some of these other guys have gotten the looks. Who's the other guy? Barrow, I'm sorry, who got hurt after one game. He looked really good that game too. That sucked. But like Kulich not being up yet, that like he could go, they could bring him up and they could send him down to Rochester, where some of these other guys, they got to do more roster maneuvering.
They might just be, there's a lot, and this is a Sabre group that I trust, that I believe, and I think the Bills are okay at this too, but really understanding the person, the player, and those sort of things. And I think Kulich might be someone that they're saying, all right, he's not someone I want to go back and forth with. Okay. When we get him, I want to get him, and I want it to be part of it right then and there.
Okay.
And I gotta think that they're on the cusp of making that type of decision. I with him in particular. I mean, he's the guy, right? There's nobody else really at Rochester where we're sitting there saying, oh, we got to take that look. Or so, well, you could put Johnson in that category as well. The kid Johnson. A lot of people are going to be pissed if he finds his way back down, because they think he's better than Eric Johnson. You know what I mean?
That's yeah.
So what are they willing to do with guys like Johnson and Kulich? And is it Kulich? Or do we fuck that up every time? Is it Kulich or Kulich?
Kulich. I think it's Kulich.
You don't know either.
People pronounce it differently. Hockey names are so funny.
I think
it's Kulich.
I think he's got to be part of a short-term plan right now. Otherwise, you kind of did Savoie dirty. Like you were ready to skate him on that first line in training camp. He looks good on it, goes down, and you don't even give him a shot on the big club. Like, how bad did he look?
Like 5 shifts.
You don't even give him a shot.
Yeah, 1 game, 5 shifts
on the big club.
Very surprising. By the way,
he let his boy totally jump him, which is fine too. Like, that's another thing with Savoie going down, man. Like, if the Sabres are like, look, we're not keeping Savoie and Benson. It's just not something we're going to do.
Right.
All right. But we liked what we saw from Benson enough to where we want him to be the guy that we can stay with long-term, this year, and burn his ELC. Sure. Chances are they don't want to burn either one of them. All right. But they were never going to do both. And the one that they've identified that can be in this year's plans is actually Benson. That's probably not the case. I would love for it to be the case, because I think a lot of us liked what we saw from Benson. He's probably, the minute he gets healthy, he's probably on his way to Team Canada and that whole trek.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I'd like to think that the Sabres are keeping some sort of option for someone like Benson, because who didn't think it would be Savoie too? Who didn't think one of those two, after Benson showed out in camp, who didn't think that one of those two, all right, would find their way to the long haul?
Yeah.
Now neither. That would suck.
Yeah. I guess, by the way, Thursday night, Imperial Pizza live show. Chad, I'm looking forward to this one. Chad DeMinicis is going to be with me, and he is excellent. We'll talk Pat Kane. I'm going to talk about some of these young guys and some of these.
He's the quasi leader of the nerds, but he's excellent.
Yeah,
he's silent. He's the silent leader. You know what I mean? More have now come under him and kind of taken up his cause.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's still the godfather, man.
He is.
He's still the godfather of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him live at Imperial on a Thursday.
Oh, I'd love for there to be a move by then for him to do.
Yeah.
We'll only have Tuesday's game day. we'll only have one more game. We'll have the
Boston,
We'll have the Boston game
on
before it.
Tuesday. Yeah, to talk before I talked to him. I guess last point here. Don Granato or Kevin Adams, whoever's going to make these decisions right now, is there going to come a point where you realize that Kyle Okposo and Eric Johnson, even though they're two veteran leaders in that locker room for this team, you get to a point where you feel like they're hurting the team. Kyle Okposo, and I'm not saying something that most Sabres fans or even media have pointed out, just looks slow. Looks like I hate using that term wash. It just feels mean, but he's washed. And I could say the same for Eric Johnson. Ryan Johnson should not come out of the lineup at any point for Eric Johnson ever again at this point. And you start getting some of these guys back, Brandon Byro or Benson come off the injury list. Does Don Granato have the balls, so to speak, to look at Kyle Okposo and say, yo, this guy, he's our leader and he's our captain, but he's got to sit. Tyson Jones too, man. He's not getting it done. Is he going to make these moves? Does he got it in him to sit Eric Johnson or Kyle Okposo or both?
No, and I'll tell you why, man. I don't think he sees them in the same light that we do. I tend to agree. I think there's two things in play. All right, look, the other night, the win against Minnesota, man, it wasn't that bullshit. I mean, granted, it was an absolute hodgepodge of people on that third line, but it wasn't the third, it wasn't Okposo who wasn't getting the fucking ice time to hold that win down. All right. So that tells you right there that Granato trusts him more than that group, that
sure.
Three dudes sat out for the most part.
Yeah.
The third period of that game. Kyle Okposo wasn't one of them.
Right.
All right. So that tells you that Granato still has trust. And the other thing is, well, I forgot the other thing.
You forget a lot of shit on this, on a lot of this episode. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have trust issues with these guys. Fans do. Not that fans run this hockey team.
Oh, the voice matters. The voice. The other thing is, and this goes with Johnson as well. The voice in the room matters. It matters to have those guys be players. All right. It matters. Those guys, those voices in the room, man, they need to be playing for it to matter. And I think Granato believes in that to some extent.
Yeah. Look, bottom line, 15 games
I'd figure out that other thing.
7-1 after 15 games. I mean, season's far from lost. You know what I mean? They're holding steady. You want to see them play better. Look, I want to get to the end of this calendar year, treading water and getting, guys fully healthy. And that includes somebody we didn't mention tonight, but is going to be a big part of the second half of the season, I think. And that's Jack Quinn.
Yeah,
you get Cousins. We're talking about a shitty third line right now. Just playing for speculation purposes. You got Middlestat, Greenway, and Paterka as your second line right now. Now you add Cousins and Jack Quinn with maybe Pat Kane, or even not Kane, even if it's Jones or Byro or
no,
Kulik.
that needs
Kulik.
To be,
it is Kulik, by the way. It's definitely Kulik.
That line needs to be solid, man. See, I don't know that you'll see like Kane and Kulik together. That's a tough one.
I know
that's a tough one.
But it's just more talent coming.
Right.
With Quinn, Quinn coming back. I'm going to forget about Pat Kane, but just Quinn coming back is big. Going through the struggle right now where it seems like there's one or two forwards that don't deserve any ice time right now. Don't even get me started about Olofsson. I mean,
something will be up. Something, that's ridiculous. That's just. Here's my take, though. I have a take, I guess. On
let's
Olofsson.
end it with your. Let's end this with your take on Olofsson.
It's not a really fun one.
Oh, well, go ahead anyway.
I just think Kevin Adams has been a very patient negotiator, whether it be contracts or trades or even send downs, that sort of thing. Going back, I think he wanted to make sure that he wasn't taken advantage of on the Eichel deal. So he stood pretty firm for a while. He seems to, I think it was important to him to be a little stubborny as a negotiator, especially coming off Tim Murray, who was fucking loosey-goosey with every asset that we had. And I think that's just the way that the Olofsson thing has played out. It may well be the fact that nobody wants to take on the 4.7 mil. It may also be that fucking, he's holding firm on a second rounder instead of a fourth, and I think that could be possible. It's probably crazy to think, but with the amount of times that you're now left scratching them. But I don't know. That was my thought on Olofsson. Just assets in general, man. Adams is somewhat calculating, somewhat stingy. They don't play loosey-goosey. They don't do the things that we're talking about them doing, signing a Pat Kane, bringing up Kulich, that sort of thing. Eventually, the Savoies go back down, and the plan stays methodical. That's just who this team is. We heard them talk about so much. We're not going to rush the process. We're not going to rush the process. They know people don't want to hear it this year. Like they could get away with it last year, but this year, are they worried about doing that too? Are they just as guarded against rushing as they were? I would like to actually say that may be the single worst final take to end an episode of all time. Like I started talking about Victor Olofsson, and then I rambled off, and I believe both things, but they didn't mesh together at all. You put way too much pressure on me to make that take. All right, the faculties aren't exactly zipping along tonight, and you set me up for fucking failure.
3 games for the Sabres this week. Boston at home on Tuesday, at Winnipeg Friday, at Chicago on Sunday. Connor Bedard's got 9 goals already. You know what? Connor Bedard, that kid's got 9 goals already.
He's fun, man.
He is.
He's fun.
He is. I'm going to end this with, so I didn't even tell you, your care meter is probably going to be 0 on this. And I forgot to tell you this before the show. I don't know if you talked to Shane before. I don't know if you saw him yet or not.
No.
Tonight. We got a bet going on. His birthday's December 21st. And we got a weight loss bet going. He bet me that I need to lose 10 pounds or more. If I lose less than 10 pounds, the bet is I can't shave for 2 months, for 8 weeks. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but here's the thing.
Oh, I would. You'll look so whack.
I would.
You'll look so whack.
I can't grow a beard.
I am all over this bet, bro.
I can't grow a beard, dude. I tried it before.
Over this bet.
Patches all over the place. It will look ridiculous. And plus, I'll be on camera a lot too. So I can't get away from it. So if it's 10 pounds or less, then I lose the bet. I can't shave for 8 weeks. If it's 10 to 14 pounds, it's a wash. I lost weight. That's awesome. We all win. If I lose 14 pounds or more, he's got to get a level 5 bronzer elite spray tan session, which, trust me when I tell you,
that's fantastic,
he will literally, and Shane's a very pale kid, man. He's an albino pretty much. He will look literally orange with this bronzer level 5 tanner. And that lasts a good week. So it will be walking around looking orange in the dead ass winter cold here in Buffalo for a week.
There's no way either of you will find a way into that 11 to 15 pound
I hope
range.
so.
Neither of you will carry out, all right, what your bet.
So that's your prediction. Your prediction is neither of us lose.
Yeah. No, that's my prediction.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for this show. For Total Bucks, I'm Pat Moran. We'll be back post Bills game late on Monday night. Talk to you then.